Hi guys, welcome back. Happy Monday. Like I said, I'm trying something new. I finally got my green screen up, so hopefully this doesn't look as tacky. We just go with it. So, good morning. Welcome back to Hopeful in Victory channel, Hopeful in Victory Talks. I am Dusty Lion, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Down below, click the little bell or the little subscription button, and you can also follow me on my Facebook page, which is Hopeful in Victory Talks. Last week, if you haven't got the chance to catch up on some really great episodes featuring me and my family, you can go ahead and catch them on my YouTube channel. So yes, guys, let's go ahead and start you off with a dab of that coffee. First, let me go ahead and work this space. Let me do my catwalk in this space. Ding! Yeah. I think sometimes we just forget that we're still human beings. Yeah, I think it's important that everyone should know their status. Knowing your status is the first step to really kind of having that conversation. I think it's important we learn how to tackle stigma and get rid of it. I think it's such an extremely amazing thing that I get to do this every day and meet such great people and learn their story and share some of their story with the people that watch us every day. To remember to stay hopeful in victory. So, I say welcome a lot. I think that's like my catchphrase. I'm a very inviting person. I have such a great personality, and I also do a lot of this with my hand. So I'm using this hand to write because my wrist hurt. This weekend was a mess. I was editing a lot of photos that I took of me and my friend, or not me and my friend, but my friend Magna. I know I've been talking a lot about the hoodies. They're gonna be coming. The hoodies are gonna be coming, but they are being made as of now. Contract has been finalized. I have one more payment to make on this, and it's that done deal. We have the first batch of hoodies. Okay, guys. So as promised, they are coming. Thank you for being so patient, and also thank you for being so supportive. I appreciate it. But let's go ahead and go right into the shits, y'all. We're here to talk about HIV and dating. Now, we did talk about a little bit of that with James last 2 weeks ago, where, like, how do you disclose, when do you disclose, really, your status? So this is going to be a pretty short episode, but I'm going to be doing campaigns this week as well with the introduction of little themes, like, personally, how I take those campaigns. So today's campaign, roll that font, Mr. Director. CG, the CGI guy. Whatever that guy is. Roll the font. Today's campaign is doing it. Did y'all like my arm? My arm look good there. Yes, so hashtag doing it. What does that mean? That means getting yourself tested. This is a campaign directed back. So doing it is a national campaign that motivates adults across the world. Well, nationally, but anyone who gets to the hashtag and really knows about it is getting themselves tested. That means every adult, any person who is out there having sex, get yourself tested, hashtag it, couples, teenagers, adults, black people, white people, yellow people, Latino people, all types of people. Just get tested, and guess what you're going to do? You're going to hashtag that post with doing it. And what does that mean again? Come on, y'all. I just told y'all. What does that mean? That means getting yourself tested and knowing your status. So that's going to be combined with today's episode about HIV and testing. And I'm going to be talking about my personal experience with dating. There was a lot, get a zoom on that one, of rejection. But I think rejection makes you better for the next person. What to do next? How to be better next time. So a lot of that rejection really got me ultimately prepared for a really great relationship that I was in for some time, but we're not together because I've been single since March of 2017, and I'm so proud to say that, guys. Like, yes, it gets lonely. My lips are probably dry. Are my lips dry? They are. Ooh. And y'all should have told me my lips were dry. So, back to what I was saying, because I'm going to be doing this too, because I got it down. Uh, but what I was trying to say is rejection and dating. So when I first found out about being HIV positive, I actually gave myself a really long time of before I really got back into dating anyone. Of course, I wasn't in the best mindset. If you have gone and watched the last episode on Friday, I told my HIV story. And if you haven't, I had posted one of my speeches on my my Facebook page where you can go and watch and kind of listen to me talk about what it is that I'm doing or want to do when it comes to taking the torch and leading the future or making the future better for the next generation so that we can get to zero and that we can educate ourselves and we can start talking about it. Breaking stigma, things like that. So that is posted up there. Rewind back, because there was actually before summer. So I was talking to a guy in January. He knew, I told him about my status and he was okay with it, but he was very fickle, if you will. So we stopped talking actually in January. Then I met another guy I had gone on a date with, and we talked, and I had disclosed to him. Well, I didn't necessarily have to disclose to him because he was actually on my campus. So he actually knew my status. Like I said, my status was shared with everyone on campus who who happened to know the guy that I contracted HIV from. Or just in the gay community, the LGBTQ plus community in Charleston. But I had talked to this one guy and told him about my status, and he, he's like, oh, I'm comfortable with that, and I feel like that was a lot of the case where a lot of people are like, oh, I understand it. I understand HIV. I'm educated about it. I know the ways that you can and can't contract it. I know what you should be doing to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And of course, we both weren't in a great mindset because, as you guys remembered, I didn't start taking medication until about June 2015, my birthday. So me and him talked, and I told him my situation, things like that, and where my head was, my mindset was, and he, like I said, he agreed with it. So what he went ahead and did is we went on another date, we started hanging out, watching movies and things like that. And then like when it kind of got to like the serious point where we kind of thought about, okay, if we're going to be having sex, how are we going to have sex? Of course, condom. And this is probably TMI, but I was a top, and we would talk about ways that we need to make sure that I'm not, spreading it with him and things like that, what ways we need to be safe about. So we had intercourse. We actually didn't even manage to get to intercourse. We got a condom on, and like he was just really fearful. He was just like really scared. Like, I thought I was prepared for this. I thought I understood, but I'm not. I'm not ready. And I was like, okay, that's understandable. That next week he was just dodging me the entire time. Text, in person. So I'm like, I don't really know what's going on. But I mean, you could be an adult and just kind of tell me that, hey, I'm not sure if I'm prepared for this. But he didn't tell me that. So what had happened instead is I had to like really like try and like, yo, we need to talk. Like, what's going on? Like, we haven't talked. What's going on? So he had came over to my place and we talked. And he's like, I can't do this. He's like, it's too much. I can't do it. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And like I said, that was kind of the case with dating. Like when I tell guys, it's like some say they understand, and when it came down to business, when it got down to business, they weren't really mentally prepared or physically, and I'll say that in that sense. And when I say physically, I mean like not like all that what you think, like body shape and like penis size and things like that. No, I'm talking about like physically just didn't know their status, because the guy I ended up talking to came back and told me something about what he had discovered about himself, that he had caught a STI, and I was like, oh shit. I'm like, but you're treating me. No, ooh, that was karma for that ass. Actually, he had rejected me that time, and it wasn't the prettiest time when he came back and told me. And then a week later, he asked to talk to me. He asked to speak again. I'm like, sure, what's up? and we talked, and he told me he had an STI. So he came back and he told me that, and I was just like, you know what? I'm sorry. I wasn't like, ha, in your face, motherfucker. But I was just like, you know, hey, like, you never know what can happen, when can happen. So my best advice for anyone who is open to dating, I think the term is serotonin, is what I've learned, where one's negative and one's positive. If you are negative and you say you're open-minded, be considerate, love the person for who they are, their faults and things like that, because you never know what could happen to them or what could happen to you. And that's kind of the universe kind of telling you, that's for being like an asshole, or that's for being like so rude or mean, you know. These are actual people, or people's emotions you're dealing with. So yeah, that was the case for a good amount of time, up until later that year in 2015. I had met a guy, and like, we were at a bar. I had asked a friend, I was like, hey, I'm starting to become a little more open. I'm, you know, about my status and really accepting of myself and what my identity is. I'm like, I want to kind of hang out with more gay guys, more people who are LGBT friendly or allies, anything. Just like, at that time I had so many, like, and I don't fault any of them, but I had so many straight friends where I felt really uncomfortable talking to them about like guys and like dating guys, like, you know, like I just was inexperienced, you know. So I was kind of like wanting friendships at the time. Like, yeah, you know, we can hang out. I got some friends I know. So she invites one of her friends that she knew, and we all went in karaoke one night, and me and him like went out on this balcony, and we like sat out there for like maybe about an hour or two, just really talking about HIV and like his thoughts, my story, everything that occurred, what's going on in his life. And that was kind of one of the most compelling conversations I had at that time with someone who was HIV negative, and like really understood. Like, I didn't have to like feed them information, but they knew themselves, like, oh yeah, I know, like, you can contract to this and you can contract it that way. And hell, I think he might have knew about PrEP then too. But yeah, so me and him had talked, and like I kind of fell in love with it. I ain't gonna hide it, but I fell in love with it. But then this is the part that comes into play, where I was like, do you know your status? Like, and hashtag, every time I say, do you know your status? Run that motherfucking phone. Bing! Thank you. I asked him about his status, and pretty much he knew his status. He told me that he was HIV negative, and he had gotten tested, because I'm going to put the T out there. That was sort of, I think that's what sort of made that conversation actually better than the ones that I had before with other guys, because he had experience. But at the time, I was also going to a support group, and one of the biggest things that we talked about in the support group was knowing your status. Do you know your status? How to ask someone about their status, because that's going to be one of the more empowering ways to lead a conversation when you are going on a date. So if I'm going on a date now, the last guy that I went on a date with, which by the way is a funny story to itself, because it was a black guy, and we're going on a date, and you know, we talked like on a dating app, not Grindr, but on a dating app. And he's like, when I get there in person, because we go and get coffee, he's like, you're kind of cute for a black guy. I looked at his ass and I said, hold my tab. Let me go ahead and get a Americano with some honey. And I walked out that motherfucker. I'm like, first off, that is not something you say on a date. So if you're out there dating, don't go saying some shit like that, especially if you're like black and you're saying you're cute for a black guy. Like, what? But anyways, I digress. That was the last day that I went on, and that was terrible. But the one before, I was talking, we met up once. We known each other for some time. And he had asked me about my status. And I told him, and then we kind of talked about it, like kind of how that played, and they actually drove into something deeper, into like some other stuff. But it drove into a deeper conversation that allowed me to get to know him and him to get to know me on a much intimate and vulnerable level where we didn't have to be physically intimate. We just were able to talk. And so that's what I mean about using what's your status to your advantage. If I go on a date now, I'm always kind of, not hesitant, but I want to read the person before I kind of dive into something deeper. But if I feel that there's a certain energy between us, I'm definitely going to ask, like, hey, like, do you know your status? Like, okay, put an imaginary person right here, Dion. He can be a stick figure, whatever. Just draw him real quick. So, hey, okay, yeah. He looked cute and all that. I have assessed the figure, and now that I have assessed the figure, I'm like, hey, do you know your status? And if he's like, what do you mean by know your status? When was the last time you got tested? Do you know that you're HIV negative? Do you not have an STD? Like, when was the last time you got tested? Just, things like that. And if he's just like, well, I don't have to tell you that. Like, that's the first sign. That's strike one. Bing. And then if he's like, what's your status? Like, do you know that you're HIV? Ding, that's the second strike already. So he already down the pathway. So I'm going to go ahead and say my piece and be like, oh yeah, I get tested regularly every 6 months because I am HIV positive, but I'm also undetectable. And if he's like, you're HIV positive and like you're on a date, that's the second strike. That's actually 4 right there. That's 2 points. We ain't not even continue that. So bye, stick figure. But anyways, yeah, like if you do know your status, it's a great way to talk and have conversation and really learn about someone, because not only is it just like, what's your status, when was the last time you got tested type of question. It's like, when was the last time you got tested? It's like, I got tested back in like February. I did find out that, and if you're an adult and you're able to talk about real adult shit, you can be like, I got tested like a couple of months ago. I was kind of out there. Had unprotected sex and ended up catching chlamydia, because that shit happens. Shit happens when you play unprotected. And at the time, I didn't know the other guy's status, so I use that. Now I want to get tested regularly because of that incident. You know what I'm saying? And that's also one of the many great ways to have get intimate with someone without getting intimate with someone. But yeah, so. Going back to the Doing It campaign, that's why those campaigns are kind of cool that I'm going to be talking about all this week, because they go hand in hand with people who are HIV positive and people who are negative, because we can use these campaigns, these hashtags, as a way of conversation starters. If you do know your status, then you make it a healthy routine, a regular health routine in your life, because, like I said, love is love is love, but most importantly, your body is your temple, and as I said before a while ago, your body is your car. You want to go get a maintenance checkup. A maintenance checkup is not just your teeth. It's not just when you're sick. It's not just when you're feeling pain. A maintenance checkup is when you're feeling okay. But you also want to be checked in with your body. I think knowing your status kind of helps you get grounded. So know your status first off. That's most importantly. Try to make it a regular health routine. Second, and when it comes to dating, when you are HIV positive, it's fun. It is very scary, but it's fun at the same time, because walk into the fear. Walk into the direction, because you never know what could happen. You never know if that person is just like, wow, I dated someone who was HIV positive before, and it was difficult, but I understand how that is. The conversation can go anywhere, to be perfectly honest. My last bit of comment, being able to say that you are undetectable, that you are on some form of treatment, or that you are looking into it, but in the process that you are taking care of yourself, because I'm not gonna say like, oh, you want to make sure like they know that you're taking care of yourself, but for your peace of mind, whenever you're intimate with them, you don't have to sit in the back of your mind like, oh, geez, like, is there something that I need to worry about myself? Am I concerned about this? In my experience, you know, even though I knew I was taking care of myself, I was always concerned about, oh, like I may spread it, or you know, I don't know. I'm so much in my mind that I can't enjoy the intimate moments that I had with my partner sometimes because I was so in my head about things, and so that's what I want to share with you guys is to share your status, know your status, learn to be comfortable with yourself, do some homework. There are people out there who do talk about this more than I do, so definitely go and look for that, give it a share. Yeah, tomorrow we're going to be talking about another campaign. And like I said, today is hashtag doing it. So if you did watch this episode, go ahead and like the video. Make a post and hashtag doing it if you know your status or if you recently got tested, or even just comment below just saying hashtag doing it, because motherfucking hashtag doing it all motherfucking day. This is Dusty Lion. I am Dusty Lion. And this is Hopeful and Victory Talk, guys. I hope you have a great day. I hope you like this set. This green screen is like hella dope. But you have a great day. I'll see you guys Tuesday. As always, stay hopeful and victory. Bye.